Hello, everyone. In this video, I am going to demonstrate an integration between Business Central and Artemis AMQ, AMQ broker, to share messages from Business Central with a remote application. In our case, it's going to be an Spring Boot application that listens to a given queue and then produces a message back for RHPAM to read. This message that the Spring Boot application is sending the message to the signal queue with certain parameters in order to complete a work item with information about the result of a given request. So that RHPAM reads back that information from the AMQ broker and interacts with the process engine. Let's take a look at it. So you can see that I have a localhost installation of RHPAM, authoring RHPAM with Business Central and the key server and everything. So I'm signing in there. Also, I have a local installation of a Artemis AMQ cluster. Here in the addresses of AMQ, you can see that I have the RHPAM queues created, and I also have these inbound A and inbound B queues that the Spring Boot application listens to in order to generate some logic. So here, let's take a look at the queue inbound A. We have in the attributes, we have in the message count, we have 0 messages, right? Everything is 0. And also in the signal queue that RHPAM listens to, we have 0 messages here. Let's start by creating a process instance. Let's do that. So in my key server, in my Business Central, in my key server, I already have a KJAR deployed that has a custom work item handler that produces a message in the AMQ. That's its only function. So I will start a process instance that triggers that work item handler. Here it is. So if we look at the diagram of this process instance, we see that this work item for parts inventory, it has been executed. It has produced a message, but nobody has completed the work item yet, so it is waiting for somebody to complete. And then when completing the work item, we should pass information about, in this case, the parts inventory in order to take a decision whether we have enough parts in the inventory or not, and take a decision here in order to continue one way or the other. So far, what we see with this work item being executed, what we see is that in the queue inbound A, for example, we have one message in the message count. You can see that one message in the message count. It has been added, but nobody has acknowledged the message. So we're waiting for the Spring Boot application to actually consume the message and create a response. We have a mock Spring Boot application here that will do that, but being a mock application, what it's going to do is that once it consumes the message, it will quickly reply to it, and another work item will be generating another message again. But because the Spring Boot application is up and running, it will quickly generate the response. So the next steps are going to be very fast. We will just see the process instance, the work item being completed, and the other 2 work items being completed too, but they also depend on messages. So we will see the counters of the queue inbound A and the signal queue. Right now, nobody has replied back, so we have message count being 0. But once we turn on our Spring Boot application, we will see the Spring Boot application consuming and increasing the message count of this inbound A and producing messages in the signal. But RHPAM will be also consuming from the signal. So we will see that message added and acknowledged being increased based on the messages that the Spring Boot application produced and were consumed by RHPAM. Let's look into that. So I'm starting now the Spring Boot application that very quickly receives messages. It's receiving messages and producing messages back to RHPAM in that signal queue, completing the work items. So if we go to the process instance state, we can see that, hey, it has been completed end to end, you see. was started, all the messages produced, completed. We see the broker, and we see these 3 messages acknowledged and added. And we also see the 3 messages here in the inbound being acknowledged and added. If we create another process instance, because my Spring Boot application is up and running, see this Spring Boot application up and running. Let me see if I can generate some space here. Yeah, in the logs. So if I create another process instance here, it quickly goes and produces, consumes all the messages. If I take a look at the diagram, everything just happened end to end real quick. I take a look at the counters now. It is 6 messages, right? 3 other messages were created for this process instance. And if I go to the Spring Boot application, I see these other messages being consumed. Well, I hope you like this demo. The integration instructions about how to communicate Business Central and the different assets that you need to set up in order to allow for this integration are in the blog post that I will put in the description. The link will be there in the description. So I hope you like it, and you can also succeed in integrating these amazing tools. Thank you.